others live their lives. That Muhammad, Krishna, or the Buddha are the way. Still some believe it's right to say in the name of Jesus when you pray. We are a humankind of 7 billion. So many different races and religions, and it all comes down to one. Some say God's a him, still many believe that he is a her. Does God live in our hearts, or is she somewhere out there in the universe? We are a humankind of 7 billion. So many different races and religions, and it all comes down to one. How far will we have to go before we learn the lesson? Gandhi was a Hindu, Martin Luther King a Christian. Regardless of religion, they knew love was the mission, and it all comes down to one. Is there no God at all, or a pantheon of gods up in the sky? We can heal our broken heart if we give up the desire to be right. We are a humankind of 7 billion. So many different races and religions, and we all want the same things: health, love, prosperity, and peace. Tolerance is the seed, and the gift of your acceptance is the tree. We are a humankind of 7 billion. So many different races and religions, and it all comes down to one. Whether you are red, brown, yellow, black, or white, a man with a husband or a woman with a wife, we can debate until the end of time who's wrong and who is right, but we can see ourselves as one, 'cause it all comes down to love.
Purpose statement. Our purpose is to create a spiritual community that recognizes that there is one presence and one power in the universe, God. Daily, we actively practice this spiritual truth. We open our heart space to each person to acknowledge one another as expressions of God. It is in each other that we see God.
So with that, I'd like us to anchor in prayer right here and right now. So if you so choose, allow your eyes to gently close, recognizing right here and right now as we breathe in that each one of us is deeply connected to the all that is. For there's only one life. That life is God. That life is everywhere present. And I know right here and right now, it is my very life. And so right here and right now, I know that I'm inseparable from all that is. I'm inseparable from love. I'm inseparable from peace. And as I know this to be true about myself, I know it to be true for each and every one within the sound of my voice. And right now, I declare peace. I declare the peace that resides within us to reveal itself through every cell, every tissue, every fiber, every molecule of our being. I declare love to reveal itself through every cell, every tissue, every molecule of our being. And right now, all of the ways that we have been not accepting ourselves are simply dissolved and dissipated as we right now recognize all of the gifts of ourselves, all of the gifts of our body, all of the ways that it has totally and completely supported us in our lives. And we simply say, yes, I love you. I'm grateful for you. And so I declare peace within us. I declare love within us. And I know that as each and every one of us do this, peace reveals itself fully and totally on this planet, that we reveal peace everywhere, that we have the strength and the courage to deeply practice these beautiful principles of science of mind, of oneness, that we live in oneness, and we have the courage and the strength to be love, to be peace, to be oneness on this planet. And knowing that this community is absolutely abundantly blessed, that everything that is needed and necessary pours upon it right now, that wherever your heart is, that whatever the need is, the desire is within the heart, that right now the infinite overflowing presence of life says yes, and that we are fulfilled in this moment. So for this day, for this time, for this opportunity to be with you, I am so deeply grateful. I am so deeply grateful for the bright, shining point of light that this spiritual community is. I celebrate the work that you do in the world, and I call forth for greater and greater work to be done. And for this and for so much more, I say thank you, Father, Mother, God, and with gratitude and love, I allow it to be. And so it is.
That's it. Here we go, soprano.
There we go. It started to.
Above my head, I hear music in the air. Above my head, there's a melody so bright and fair. I can hear when I'm all alone, even in those times when I feel all hope is gone. Above my head, I hear joy bells ring. Above my head,
What comes from the heart reaches the heart. Good morning and welcome to our Heartstream for this Sunday, February the 25th, 2024, the last Sunday in the month of February. Thank you for joining us for our Heartstream. Always glad that you do. Please continue to support us financially, to also support us by spreading the word, sharing the fact that this Heartstream is happening. I do see new people that are coming in to view, new people that are subscribing to our YouTube channel. Thank you. Keep it up, and welcome to those who have done so. It's a great opportunity to continue to share this new thought, ancient wisdom message from Open Heart, the Open Heart perspective. Thank you for all that you do. We're coming into the month of March. March is going to be an exciting month for us. March is recognized as Women's History Month, and we are recognizing women this in the month of March. That each Sunday we will have a dynamic speaker who will be a part of our celebration, and you'll find out more about them and who's in store for you. I'm looking forward to that because I know that there is a powerful lineup of some very powerful women who will be our speakers next month, and it'll be a time for us to celebrate. And I take pride in the fact that we don't just wait until this time to feature women speakers, but throughout the year we support them. We are inclusive when it comes to that, and that's not a problem. I know that most recently one of my colleagues here in the city, when she spoke before the 4 Baptist conventions, there was some, and she had a really dynamic and powerful message, and there was some question after her preaching, that her message was pulled down on some different sites and all of that, and there was controversy about all of that because there's still people who somehow don't believe that women have a right to be leaders and preachers and pastors and whatever else. But that is not a problem for us. I proudly look forward to the month of March and beyond to continue to amplify and to lift up voices that have a pertinent and relevant message for us. And so again, look forward to that. Again, I love to have this opportunity to say to each and every one of you, as I reach out to you through this medium, I greet you, I bless you, I see God in you.
Our affirmation for the month of February. My higher wisdom self. Intuition is truth, my truth. God is revealing itself through me, and I am guided by intuition as I make decisions and choices from this highest place. It is the feeling that all is well, even in the most dire experiences. I am easily comforted by my higher wisdom self because I know that it and it alone is the only truth I need to hear to be set free. Amen, Ashe, and so it is.
Today is a day like no other day. Just think and you'll know that it's true. Days like today should be holidays. So I'm singing this message to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Just have a happy day.
Come with me and you'll be in a world of pure imagination. Take a look and you'll see into your imagination. We'll begin with a spin, traveling in the world of my creation. What we'll see will defy explanation. paradise. Simply look around and view it. Anything you want to do it. Wanna change the world? There's nothing to it. There is no life I know to compare with your imagination. Living there, you'll be free if you truly wish to be. If you want to view paradise, simply look around and view it. Anything you want to do it. Wanna change the world? There's nothing to it. There is no life I know to compare with your imagination. Living there, you'll be free if you truly wish to be.
Hi, Open Heart family. I hope everyone is doing well and enjoying this slow but steady transition into warmer weather. I'm going to be reading from Braiding Sweetgrass by Robin Wall Kimmerer, and these are the Honorable Harvest guidelines. And this is written in regards to like whenever we're going out and foraging and taking things from the earth, but I also think that this is just relevant in the way that we share resources with each other in general. So, know the ways of the ones who take care of you, so that you may take care of them. Introduce yourself. Be accountable as the one who comes asking for life. Ask permission before taking. Abide by the answer. Never take the first, never take the last. Take only what you need. Take only that which is given. Never take more than half. Leave some for others. Harvest in a way that minimizes harm. Use it respectfully. Never waste what you have taken. Share. Give thanks for what you have been given. Give a gift in reciprocity for what you have taken. Sustain the ones who sustain you, and the earth will last forever. And so it is.
Let's take a minute and find out what's happening with Open Heart this week and in the weeks to come. Here are your announcements. At Open Heart, we believe in the power of affirmative prayer. Each and every individual and family you see represented here, we continue to pray for you. Our prayer team each morning remembers you, and we hold the space for you, as well as all of you who are a part of our Open Heart family. There are several ways to give to Open Heart: through our Cash App at OHSC901, online at OHSC901.com, or text the word GIVE to 615-422-4290. Begin or continue your day with prayer through our daily affirmative prayer call every morning at 8 a.m. Central Time, 901-586-8755. The 38th Annual Women of Achievement Celebration Ceremony takes place on Sunday, March the 3rd from 3 p.m. to 5:30 p.m. at First Congregational Church, 1000 South Cooper Street. 8 local women will be celebrated for change-making leadership. Tickets are $30 and available by going to womenofachievement.org or calling 901-378-3866. For those young women under the age of 21, if you're interested, there's free admission. Simply email dclub@memphiswomen.org. Our own Judy Card and Carolyn Head would be glad to see you there. They are part of the event. Black history is a part of history year-round. But traditionally in the month of February, we highlight the accomplishments of Black Americans and beyond. And courtesy of the Center for Spiritual Living in Dallas, we are featuring the pioneers and evolutionaries of science of mind. Hope you enjoy.
Here's a little known Black history science of mind fact. Pearl C. Wood was born in a small Arkansas town in 1892. A teacher, she became a seeker of spiritual truth. She relocated to Kansas City, where she became active in church and civic work. In 1930, she went to California. There she visited various churches but could not find the spiritual uplift she desired until one day, a voice inside her said, "The thing you're looking for is within you." She returned to Kansas City and became an ordained minister in the Metropolitan Spiritual Church of Christ. A short time later, she permanently moved to LA and founded Triangular Church of Truth in her living room in 1932. She became affectionately known as Mother Wood. The church grew, and 24 years later, in 1956, she affiliated with Religious Science. Ernest Holmes loved Mother Wood's ministry, and in one event stunned the crowd announcing, "If she's your mother, then I'm your father." When Mother Wood retired in 1972, her son-in-law, Dr. Philip Pitts, became senior minister at Triangular Center for Spiritual Living. And when he retired, her grandson, Reverend Greg Pitts, stepped into leadership. Mother, son-in-law, and grandson, 3 generations of strong spiritual leadership. Dr. Pearl C. Wood, a Black evolutionary in science of mind.
Her story, Uplifting Voices of Truth, is the theme for our celebration of Women's Month. And we have a lineup that is going to do just that. It includes Christy Turman Rojas, Jocelyn Johnson, Joanne McFadden, Janet Perry, and Villa Willis. Through the month of March, we're looking forward to all of these wonderful and very powerful women bringing us the messages.
I paid my
When grace knocks. The grace is one of those terms, one of those concepts that we hear a lot in religion. Oftentimes people talk about the, unmerited grace that comes from God. I didn't deserve it. God's better to me than I've been to myself, those kinds of concepts. But as you know, if you've been listening to me for a while, I have a slightly different take on the concept and the idea of grace. And for me, grace is really a mixture of knowing that you made the best decision possible at the time, while there may be things as you look back on in retrospect that you wish you might not have made or wonder why you made those decisions. But at the time, you use the information, you use the knowledge, you use whatever else to make those decisions and to take those actions. And then the other aspect of that is that in the midst of all of that, that divine connection, the divine within, was able to take those very actions and the things that you did and said very often and take them and shape them in such a way that things do have a way of working out. And I think about when I was in seminary and I had gone through an experience called clinical pastoral education. That particular summer, I was working at Children's Medical Center. And it was a really rough time for me. I had a lot of things that were going on. I was working in a children's hospital. I was seeing a lot of children who were very ill, many of them who died because there was a particular time when I was assigned to the cancer ward, and it was a trying time for me. And I had a lot of interpersonal conflicts with the other people who were a part of that experience, some of the staff members. I was growing, I was learning myself, but I really was having a difficult time just navigating through all of that. And I can remember my final meeting with the person who was my CPE supervisor. And as we were talking, and it was time for my evaluation, and he asked me to give a self-assessment. And so I started talking about all of the things that I had done wrong, all of the things that had happened to me, all of the times that there was conflict with my peers and everything else. It just, because I was developing, stomach problems during all of that time. And I shared all of those things. And at the end, he paused and looked at me. He said, "So what did you learn?" I was waiting on him to really come down on me about those things. But his question to me was, "What did you learn?" And so I started to share some things that I learned, because as I thought about that question and I started talking about the things that I had learned about myself, the interactions I had had with other people and how I had learned and grown through that process and all of that. And when I got done with describing all of that to him, I stopped and I said, "Wow." And he said, "No, not wow, grace." He said, "You learn, give yourself some grace." And so this morning, as I talk about this whole idea and this subject of when grace knocks, I'm talking about it from this particular perspective. My understanding and my idea about grace is what I'm here to share this morning and what I'm here to talk about. And I'd say, grace is that energy that flows from source and it manifests in messages, what we call coincidences, accidents, hunches, intuition, or synchronicity. Grace is life communicating about itself. In the book, The Secret of the Shambhala, which is by James Redfield, the main character of the book goes to Tibet. And he's there searching for the mystical Shambhala, which is a place that there are people that are monks and other people who live in that place. And it's a mystical, magical place that it is said that people, as they think about things, those things manifest immediately, that they have a source of energy that is a part of them that comes from source and consciousness. And there's so many other things about Shambhala. And as he gets there, he finds out that he's not the only person that is trying to find Shambhala, but also the Chinese army is in search of it because they view it as a threat to the security, their particular security and their own interest. And so as he's making his way, he has many different encounters. many different conflicts that happen. And he's on the run from the Chinese army. And every time, though, that he has a thought that is not so good toward them, basically, if he has thoughts of hatred toward the army, he would find that they would find him. But when he would keep his mind clear, he would be able to escape. And finally, as he makes it to Shambhala, and he's able to have conversations with the mystics and the elders that live there, one of the things that they say to him is the fact that he needed to have paid attention to those coincidences and those hunches and his intuition along the way, because he had been captured several times. He was lucky to escape, but they told him all of those times there were things that were signs for you to follow if you had only just trusted him. There was a particular time he was being followed and he was running down a road, and he noticed a car sitting on the side, and the car was running, and there was a gold light that surrounded the car. But rather than getting in the car, he just ran on, and he ended up getting caught. Another time he was inside of a building, and he was running through the building, and he was being chased by some of the military. And as he was running through, he saw a doorway that had a golden glow around it. But rather than taking that door, he second guessed himself and walked another way, and he got captured again. And they told him those were not coincidences. Those were not mere happenstance, but it was really life communicating with you, helping you to understand that it had something for you if you would just pay attention, if you would just listen, if you would just be open and available to what was going on. And really, again, the idea of grace, and grace being life communicating with itself, but grace also providing us with a way and an understanding of things. So it shows that sometimes, just like this man in the story, that when grace knocks, we don't answer. When grace knocks, we don't answer. We don't answer because we don't recognize the fact that it's not just on some occasions or just to some people that God, source, the universe, infinite wisdom, love, intelligence, whatever we want to call it, it's not just for some people or on some times that it communicates, but all of the time, the universe is communicating to us. And it continues to do so despite whatever else might have happened in our lives, whatever else might be going on, it communicates with us. But there's a particular time that I'd like to talk about this morning where the universe, source, infinite wisdom, love, intelligence, all of those names is communicating with us in a particular way this morning that I think is quite vitally important as we end this month of talking about being guided by our higher wisdom self. And that particular time is when the communication that we are getting is a wake-up call. That's right, when the communication that we are getting is a wake-up call. Those times when things seem to be falling apart and life feels out of control. And I think that all of us can relate to that. I think that all of us have had times in our lives where things feel like they're falling apart. Things feel like they're out of control. There's chaos in our lives. We wonder what's next. We wonder when that other shoe is going to drop. All of those things. And as Cheryl Richardson points out, many of us have learned to live in a comfortable state of denial about what's not working in our lives. We tolerate high levels of stress at work, take important relationships for granted, put our health needs on hold, or continue to overspend in spite of the anxiety that we feel about mounting debt. We get so caught up in the details of living that our busyness becomes a convenient diversion from the pesky inner voice that begs us to listen up. Listen, that pesky inner voice that begs us to listen up. But we go through all of those other things. We tolerate all of those other things. We put up all of those other things because they are that convenient diversion from the pesky inner voice that begs us to just listen up. She continues, here's the irony. Listening to that pesky little voice will set you free. Listening to that pesky little voice will set you free. When you finally face the truth about how you feel and begin to make even small changes, you slowly emerge from the protective cocoon of denial and allow grace to lead the way. And the wake-up calls can be a lot of things. The wake-up calls that come to us, the wake-up calls that happen in our lives can be a lot of things. The wake-up call can be the loss of a job, the end of or changes in a relationship, health concerns, things that really devastate us. And the point is, in the midst of being crushed by them and feeling crushed by them, grace is knocking. Grace is knocking in the midst of a loss of job, in the midst of a change or the end of a relationship, in the midst of health problems, in the midst of financial difficulty or whatever else. Grace is knocking. Grace is knocking. Grace is knocking and saying, it's time. It's time to step into a whole new way of being. It's time for a rebirth. It's time. Being born again is about coming into a new reality, a new realization of who it is that you are. It's telling us and it's showing us that it's time. I can think about when I was in a particular job where it had gotten to the point where I was just tired of being there, and there was so much that seemed like it was happening, and it seemed like that every day almost was drama central. And I just knew that it was enough for me, but I still hung on. I still kept telling myself it would get better. I still kept saying that till I got to that final one point where I just couldn't anymore, and things happened. And the next thing I knew, I was out of a job. And I can remember one of the people that I had worked with, that I had confided in, and she reminded me, well, you have been saying for some time now that you wanted to leave. You've been saying for some time now that this really wasn't the place for you anymore. And you had been saying that. And she said, you just needed a good kick in the butt out the door for you to understand that, for you to recognize that. And as I look back on that, now I am where I'm appreciated. I'm where I love being, and all of those things that happen. But the point of the message is that it was time, and I had to listen because grace was knocking. When I finally did listen, it let me know it's time. You see, it's time to step into that new way of being, and oftentimes we push back. We might try to even step back into our old way of being, but guess what? Even when we try to push back into the old way of being, we're just wasting time. We're wasting time. We're wasting our time. We're wasting energy as we try to do that, because a true call to consciousness is impossible to ignore. A true call to consciousness is impossible to ignore. When grace knocks, when the universe calls, when spirit speaks, when God becomes in the place in our lives where it continues to just provide us with nudges, provides us with inspiration, provides us with everything else, that when that happens, it becomes impossible to ignore. Try to ignore it as much as we can. Try to divert ourselves as much as we can. Try to move away from that as much as we can. But ultimately, it keeps knocking, it keeps knocking, it keeps knocking, it keeps knocking. And you know what? There are a lot of times that we are still slow to answer. We're still slow because we don't use the new experience. We don't use the new opportunity, the new doors and pathways that are opening up as a springboard to being in a new place, to being with new ideas, to accepting offers of support. We don't do that. We are slow to accept the fact that now there is something that is opening to me because grace is making the way for me. So we choose behaviors that keep us from evolving, things like shutting people out, ignoring advice or different points of view, refusing to ask for help or receive help. And I know that I just stepped on some toes, including my own, with that one. Rejecting information that doesn't reflect our beliefs. Coming up with excuses as to why something won't work. There's so many times and occasions that I've encountered people that as they talk about their dreams and their goals, but they're quick to also supply the reasons why it won't work, the reasons why they won't even try. We keep taking actions that haven't worked in the hopes that something will change. But guess what? If we always do what we always did, we always get what we always got. That's why the key that unlocks the door to grace is surrender. The key that unlocks the door to grace is surrender. And I know that the word surrender is a word that sometimes people don't like because, after all, we live in a society where we think about the fact that we are our own individuals. We are in control of our lives. Nobody's going to tell us what to do or how to do it or anything like that. So, we talk about surrender, but surrender is really the aspect and the fact of recognizing and realizing that we are a part of a universe that has what we need. It is already available to us, and things are already created. It's already a part of that if we would just choose to surrender. But so often we are fighting that and fighting that and fighting that without recognizing that there is help that is available for us, help that is available to us. I can remember a long time ago when I was having issues with my throat. I was getting sore throats all the time, getting strep throat. And one particular time when we went to the doctor, and I was sitting there, I was in a lot of pain. My throat felt like somebody had been climbing up and down it using sandpaper shoes and gloves or whatever else, but it was just real scratchy and sore, and I had a fever and everything else. And I went into the doctor, and the doctor said that he was going to have to take a throat culture. And I can remember him approaching me with this long swab. The swab seemed like it was 50 feet long and wide, whatever else, but it was a swab. But at the time I was a little boy, I was afraid. And as he got closer and he told me to open my mouth, and as he got ready to insert it in my mouth, I grabbed his hand and I wouldn't let him go any further. And he struggled for just a minute, and then he looked over at my mother, and my mother came over and she gave me one of those looks, and she got up in my ear and she said something very, very important to me. She said, stop struggling. He's trying to help you. Stop struggling. He's trying to help you. And when I did, when I surrendered, when I let go, he was able to take the throat culture, prescribe medicine for me, and I felt better. But it was because I stopped trying to do it myself. I stopped struggling. I stopped insisting on it my way and recognized that there was someone, truly, as my mother was telling me, that was there to help me. And as I was able to do that, as I was able to be open and available to what was next, as open and available to possibilities and everything else, it happened for me. So often we're not willing to do that when we talk about surrender, and that can become something for us. But see, when we become more conscious, we not only see what's not working in our lives, but we also become more aware of what is. That as we become more conscious, it's like the scales fall off of our eyes, thinking about a story, a biblical story. But when the scales fall off of our eyes and we're able to see, and to see more clearly than we had before, we can see what's not working, but we also can see what is working and what is available to us when we recognize and when we embrace the role of grace in our lives, and that we answer when grace knocks. I think about that story about a man who had gone over to visit a place in the Middle East where they were famous for making these wonderful carpets and tapestries. And he went into the place where they were making them, and they had these large looms that were, very vast and tall, almost up to the ceiling of the place where he was. And his walk through, he noticed that there were people that were busy working. And as he was listening to the explanation of what was taking place, what was happening there, what he was told was that the people on this side of the tapestry were people who were apprentices, people who were still learning the craft, and they were making their stitches and passing things through the best that they could, the best way that they knew how. But there were times when they were making mistakes because they were still learning, and all of that was taking place, and all of that was happening. And the man looked for a minute and wondered why they would allow people to do that But what he explained that on the other side of the tapestry was the master weaver. And the master weaver had the ability to take whatever mistakes, whatever misstitches, or whatever else it might be that the people on that side were making, take those things and weave them into the grand design. And ultimately, the role of grace, the role of spirit in our lives operating in grace and through grace is that when we make those mistakes, when we don't recognize and realize in our lives the things that are not working at that moment, and we make those decisions and those actions, that grace has the ability, God, Spirit, the universe has the ability to take those things and to weave them into the grand tapestry of our lives, to make a difference for us and to make a difference in our lives, which is why we can celebrate the fact that when grace knocks and we answer, when grace knocks and we answer, when grace knocks and we answer, things do have a way of working out. Things do have a way of coming to fruition. Things have a way of coming to manifestation in ways that beyond even our imagining them. Recognize that we live in a universe that loves us, a universe that continues to provide and care for us, a universe that continues to come forth no matter what might be, come what may, that recognizes this for you and it recognizes this for me. When grace knocks, how will you answer? Amen, ashe, and so it is.